So if you're still eating FroPro products as a means of weight loss, then this video may sting a little bit. And I get it. I used to be one of these people too, that bought into that marketing, that saw it as this high protein, low calorie magic bullet that hits my sweet tooth, but also suppresses my appetite. But then I started to eat a whole tub or finish a whole pizza or two. And that is the exact problem that I'm going to talk about today in this video. So make sure you stay to the end of the video to understand why these healthy alternatives are keeping you stuck, and more importantly, what you can do to make sure that you break free of that cycle. So like I said, I get it. A few years ago, I used to be hooked on this stuff. So much so that I would spend hundreds of bucks every single week buying these frozen pizzas that had 800 calories, but 60 grams of protein in them, thinking I was reverse engineering fat loss and being the smartest cookie. Like literally anything that said high protein was in my fridge, in my cupboard, in my pantry. Whether that was a protein ice cream, whether that was a pizza, whether that was a protein bar. I mean, hell, you know, we're now going through this phase of protein water, protein caffeine, protein whatever, right? And if I was still locked in that kind of mindset that I was 2 years ago, I'd have that stuff in my fridge right now as well. And you probably do. But what would happen every single time was like, I would just eat the whole thing. Like it wasn't necessarily that I was eating according to the serving size. I would eat it and then I'd eat, you know, not just that healthy alternative, but the real thing itself. The actual like full pizza that has double the calories, or the Ben & Jerry's tub that has 4 times the amount of calories as the FroPro, because it just didn't satisfy that craving, because I was putting that Ben & Jerry's on this pedestal and I was seeing it as untouchable. Like I remember when I was living in London and it was in this share house, and I would consistently at like 11, 12 at night order from Uber it was probably like 40, 50 bucks, considering the delivery fees and consistently, by the way, many times a week, these like Halo top ice creams, which are kind of like a FroPro ice cream, but you know, UK version. And I'd polish off like 3 of them in one evening. And it's like, that is the Ben & Jerry's right there. Like that is the Ben & Jerry's. And again, because of what's actually involved in these products, how they're processed, how they're made, there's a reason, you know, that they're a quarter of the calories in comparison. It would ruin my gut. Like my skin would be a mess, my stomach would be a mess, everything would be a mess. And like, here's the thing, guys, like when you are consistently chasing that healthier alternative of your favorite food, you're not actually fixing the problem, you're just kind of rebranding it. Like you're literally just masking that. It's like, have you ever seen the meme of like where there's a water tank and water's gushing out and someone just puts a plaster there? Like that's what you're doing here. You're not actually fixing the root cause. You're just going so surface level. You're at the tip of the iceberg rather than the hole underneath. The thing with this, guys, is that your brain knows the difference, right? You feel like it doesn't, but your brain knows when it's having Ben & Jerry's and when it's having FroPro. It can taste that. It feels that. And your hunger knows that too. You feel considerably different eating a tub of Ben & Jerry's than you would a tub of FroPro or a serving of FroPro, for example. And like I said, what happens 9 times out of 10 is you'll just eat both anyway. You'll have the FroPro, the Halo top, the pizza, and then you'll have non-healthy alternative that you were just craving all the meantime anyway. So how do we actually fix this problem? And why does it actually come about in the first place? The reason it comes across in the first place is because you're not allowing yourself to have these actual versions of favorite foods, the real versions of favorite foods, the Ben & Jerry's, the actual, like, you know, 1600 calorie pizza, for example. And yeah, I'm actually saying you should be having that stuff, but within moderation. And what we need to make sure we're doing is eating consistently, eating structured, eating balanced meals over the course of the day, so that you're not craving these things 80% of the time. But maybe you're importing them into your nutrition strategy day by day, 20%. It's something which I call the 80-20 rule. And this is basically that 20% of your daily intake over the course of the day, you want to focus on that flexibility food. You know, things like coffees, things like chocolates and sweets and lollies or ice cream. And maybe that's not an everyday thing, maybe that's just a weekly thing, for example, or a few times a week. That's what I do, you know. I'll have yochi once or twice a week, and that's like my flexibility. And then, you know, the rest of the days I'm pretty spot on with my nutrition strategy. And that's because you want the other 80% to be whole, nutrient dense foods that fulfill you, that like satisfy those cravings, so that you don't actually like always crave this kind of fast food and this junk food. Because that's the reason you're craving it at the moment, is because your nutrition isn't actually set up for success. It's setting you up for failure. And then you need to look at the other aspects of weight loss, or just health transformation in general, which is your sleep. Are we making sure that we're getting at least 7 to 8 hours every single night? Our water, are we making sure that we're at least consuming 2 to 3 liters a day? Are we making sure that we're moving our body consistently? Like, if we're not actually doing these things multiple times a week, if it's movement, for example, or every single day when it comes to our sleep and our water, then naturally our body is going to feel deprived and want to pig out on this junk food. Like, it's only natural. It's only going to happen. So if you want to take out a bit of an action plan and a strategy of this video, if you are struggling with just consistently eating these very impressively marketed high protein, low calorie options that you're just binging on anyway, what I want you to do is first fix that structure. Fix the structure of your eating, your patterns, your movement, your sleep. These very basic things I want you to focus on first, and watch those cravings go. Watch that evening binge go as a result. If you want a bit more detailed support, you know, again, you have this page that you can stalk, and my whole YouTube video where I talk a lot about this kind of stuff. You have my Instagram as well. But if you actually want some more tailored advice and guidance, and you want to actually be held accountable during that journey by someone like myself, of course you have the ability to work with me. You can inquire around that, and you can book in a time in my diary to even chat in the link in the description as well, just for the next 15-20 minutes to see if I'd be someone that maybe can support you on that journey. Not a sales call, nothing like that, just to see where you're at right now and where you're trying to get to. That is everything wrapped up.